We start with breaking news that now gives Minnesotan Republican leaders the majority in the state House of Representatives. Just minutes ago, we learned a Ramsey County judge made a decision saying the winner in the race representing Roseville does not qualify in that district. The court found DFL Representative Curtis Johnson lives outside of the district. Attorneys say that his opponent in the race hired an investigative team that testified he was not living in the apartment he filed under. That seat now sits vacant, bringing the makeup of the state House of Representatives to 67 to 66 in Republicans' favor. This is still a developing story, and we will, of course, have more tonight at 5. Now turning to the weather, still pretty snowy out there. Feels like December now.
Yeah, finally, right? The snow is done. We're just dealing with Arctic sunshine for today. You can see a weak weather system that's slipping off to our west. That system is actively weakening, but it is going to throw some cloud cover our direction. You can see the western half of the state. High clouds, sun still able to shine through those clouds, but filtered sunshine is what we are expecting the remainder of the day. And yes, it is chilly. Temperatures are in the teens for the most part around the Twin Cities metro. Single digits across western and northern Minnesota, and even air temperatures sub-zero in the northwestern part of the state. We still have that solid snowpack that should be with us at least through the weekend, but some melting is forecast to take place next week. And you can see the wind chill value tolerable in and around zero for east central Minnesota and sub-zero wind chill value for the western and northern half of the state. That's not going to change, but the wind not much of a factor today. Northwesterly about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Again, Arctic sunshine, that's the case for today with some filtered sun with those high clouds moving in later this afternoon. But otherwise, it should be a fairly uneventful day. Temperatures are going to warm a couple more degrees, probably topping around 17 or 18 degrees before we cool down for the night. We are expecting another chilly night in the forecast, but a solid warming trend taking us back up above the freezing mark for much of the week of Christmas. We'll have your travel forecast coming up. Alexis?
Ben, thank you. And as we get closer to the holidays, we're expecting to see more people out on the roads and, of course, at the airport. Yesterday, we saw how the weather can impact both of those plans. Cece, what's the travel outlook now for anybody who's starting that?
Yeah, I'm actually glad that things are better. If we take a look at this MnDOT road conditions map, you see a lot of green and blue, which means either normal or partially covered. Yesterday, it was pink, so completely covered. So that's much better than yesterday. If we take a look at the wider metro, we're seeing 94 near Minneapolis, 394, 494 are the busy spots, but not seeing a lot of red, a lot of green. That's good. But roads are still slick. I've been tracking road conditions since 4:30, and there's been a lot of vehicle spinouts, jackknife semis, especially near the Rogers area as you're coming into Maple Grove or heading to Monticello. Those areas are slick, so be careful on those stretches. Here are the latest crash numbers from the State Patrol during yesterday's storm. For the entire day, there are more than 800 crashes in total, 453 property damage crashes, 38 injury crashes, 1 fatal. 281 vehicles went off the road, 28 vehicles spun out, and 37 semis jackknifed. Just another reminder to please be careful on the roads, especially since roads are still slick today, and add extra time to your commute, not only because of the road conditions, but also because more folks will be on the roads for holiday travel, like we mentioned. If you are not only hitting the roads, you could be going to the airport too. The TSA says it's expecting to screen 40 million people between now and January 2nd. The busiest travel days nationwide are expected to be today, next Friday, the 27th, and Monday, December 30th. MSP reps say the 26th and 27th will be their busiest. Now, if you're headed to the airport soon, here's a look at security wait times. Looks like Terminal 1, less than 10 minutes to go through security. Terminal 2, less than 5. So that's really good. As far as parking availability, looks like Terminal 1, that lot's 38% full. Terminal 2, over 50%. And then that quick ride ramp, over 50% too. Just stay safe today while you're traveling.
Pack your patience. Cece, thank you so much. Well, throughout the snowstorm yesterday, we did see several snow emergencies come in. Many of them are in effect through the next 3 days. Michelle Beck has what that means for you.
Well, this morning we saw some plowed streets, and we're also seeing some non-plowed streets. That's because overnight Minneapolis crews finished their plow work when it came to those snow emergency routes. And now, as of 8 a.m., they still have yet to get to work on these non-emergency routes. Now, this, of course, affects where you can park. To let plows do their jobs, the city says you're not allowed to park on the even side of the street now until 8 p.m. Otherwise, you risk getting ticketed and towed. The snow emergency continues continues tomorrow, so move your cars before you go to bed starting tomorrow morning at 8. You cannot park on the odd side of the street. The plows have to get through more than 1,000 miles of streets in Minneapolis. On top of that, there are parkways, alleys, and protected bike lanes. And I want to show you this really handy app for Minneapolis city residents. You open the app up, and the first thing on the page is this map. You can zoom in here. Let me try to zoom in for you. If you zoom in, you'll see what's green and what's red here for day 2. That's today. That'll tell you where you can park and where you cannot park. Very helpful information. Back to you.
And of course, that's very helpful as you head out this weekend. We want to be even more helpful to you. Make sure you download the KARE 11 weather app for customized forecast and live radar anytime. You can get it by scanning the QR code on your screen. You can also search KARE 11 in your app store. Well, the man accused of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is now in a New York prison cell where he could be facing the death penalty. In the last 24 hours, Luigi Mangione faced a New York judge and 4 new federal charges. They include a stalking and murder charge that carries a maximum penalty of death. Mangione's lawyers say they're not asking for bail yet, but may try to get it later. He has not entered a plea. A Minneapolis man who was sentenced last week for drugs and weapons convictions is back in custody today after he walked out of the Hennepin County Jail on an apparent clerical error. Timothy Wilson pleaded guilty to felony drug and firearms possession and received over 5 years on December 12th. A few hours later, an order from the same judge who sentenced Wilson ordered his release, and the jail let him out. Exactly what happened is still being investigated. A 21-year-old man who hit and killed a teenager with his car after a fight at a Forest Lake Park last year has been convicted of murder. A jury found Dylan Simmons guilty on 4 charges, including second-degree unintentional murder. Prosecutors say that Simmons hit the car Darisha Voth was in and then struck her when she got out. His sentencing has not been scheduled. Well, it took hours of discussion, but St. Paul Public Schools is now a step closer to its newest superintendent. The school board voted unanimously to offer Dr. Stacy Stanley the job. Stanley is the current superintendent of Edina Public Schools. Board members say that she will bring strong leadership and expertise to the district. She was up against 2 other candidates. All had ties to education right here in the state.
Folks felt like each one of these leaders were highly regarded, highly respected, instructional and organizational leaders of their current district that can do hard things.
Board members said compassion for the district was the driving factor in their decision. The board will approve her contract and start date in January. Also in St. Paul, the city council overrode Mayor Melvin Carter's 5 line-item vetoes of the 2025 budget in a meeting last night. The mayor wanted to redirect money allocated to remodel the council's offices and other expenses to fund police overtime and staffing. The council president tells us the budget is now final. However, there is a dispute over whether the council acted in time for the override to stick. Well, when the new year begins, several new laws will take effect here in Minnesota. One is the Ticketing Fairness Act, which requires ticket sellers to disclose the total cost of an event up front, including all of the fees. Another will make Minnesota the first state to ban restaurant fees. There's also a law requiring all companies to disclose salary ranges and benefits and job postings. Minimum wage is going up to $11.13 an hour across the board. And there's also a new ban on guns with binary triggers. That's a gun that shoots once when you pull the trigger and then again on the trigger's release.